This video is about creating a new customer record in Khaos Control Cloud. As well as the method we're going to show you, a new customer record can be created from within a sales order, but the process is essentially the same. First of all, we'll use the blue button at the top of the screen to select New Company. We will then use the pop-up to confirm that's what we want to do. The first thing we want to do is to decide whether we want to keep the system-generated numerical customer URN or customer code or replace it with one of our own. We're going to use our own. We then need to add a customer name. In the case of a corporate customer, this would typically be the name of the company. The other ref field can be used for any other reference that we want to use. The vendor ref field is used for a reference that the customer uses when referring to us. The tax ref field would typically be used to record the customer's VAT registration number if they have one, and then there's also a space to record the URL of a customer's website if they have one. The company class field is pre-populated with the default value we'll have set in system values for whenever we're creating a new company record. This can be changed if necessary using the drop-down. The company type and company status fields are optional, and they can be populated using values set up in system data. If you use source key codes, then the source key code for this customer can be recorded using the Actions button. It's possible to set a default sales source and a default agent using the drop-downs. These need to be set up in advance in system data. The customer's contact preferences can also be set up using the mailing flag drop-down. In the options section, we can record whether the customer is liable to pay VAT, whether or not they're an EC company, whether or not they're a supplier, if we want to make the entry of a purchase order code mandatory on this customer's sales orders, whether we want to create pro forma orders for this customer by default, or whether we want to prevent orders being created for this customer altogether. The General Notes field is normally populated from entries made in the CRM tab in the customer record, but entries can also be edited and created in this screen as well. We'll now have a look at the Financial tab and see some of the options that can be set here. In the Sales Ledger section, we have the default payment type for this customer class, although this can be changed if necessary using the drop-down. In the case of a customer whose default payment type is account, here's where we set their terms also. The Credit Review section is where we can record any credit checks that we've carried out on this customer. The Purchase Ledger section is only used when we're creating a new supplier record, and it's used to record our terms with them. The recording of a customer's bank account details is optional but can be useful if they want to pay by backs, for example. The Account Posting section is used to record the customer's country and currency, and also any sales nominal or nominal class that is mapped against individual customers. We now need to record the customer's address and contact details. Clicking the New button in the Addresses grid opens up the new address entry. By entering the customer's postcode, we can use the postcode lookup to find the customer's address. The address will now be populated in the address grid. We can now go ahead and add the customer's contact details, and we do this in the lower Contacts grid. We'll use the New button to add a new line, and then we can populate the grid with the customer's contact details. If necessary, we can add multiple contacts to the same address. We'll add another one now. Bear in mind that you can create multiple addresses for each customer, each with their own set of contacts. We'll now save our customer record. To look at the rest of the tabs in a customer record, we're going to look at a customer that has some sales history. Here we've opened another customer record, and we're going to start by looking at the Customer Services tab. This screen has three subtabs. The first one is Sales Orders and Invoices, and this shows you a list of all the sales orders that this customer has ever placed with us. This list is filterable by date and sales source. The next tab shows us a list of all the items that this customer currently has on back order. The third tab shows us the customer's sales history, but this time by product rather than by sales order. This screen can be filtered by date, stock type or stock item. The CRM screen is also divided into subtabs. The Free Text Notes tab allows us to enter general and document-specific notes for the customer. By going back to the general screen, we can see how the customer's general note is also visible here. It can also be edited from this screen. Going back to the CRM screen, the next subtab is the communication log. This is where records of our interactions with our customer are recorded. Finally on this screen we have the key code history tab. This shows a record of all the key codes or campaign codes that have been used by this customer. The next tab we want to have a look at is the Statement tab. By refreshing this screen, we can see a list of all the invoices and payments that have been made and allocated by this customer. In the case of an account customer, this is the screen where payments are created and allocated to outstanding invoices. Finally, in the customer record, we have the Structured Pricing tab. This shows details of price lists that have been allocated to this customer and a breakdown of the prices that those price lists contain. Thank you for watching.